Good morning. It is the
Good
Going On
morning.
Daily Live morning show. I'm your host, Rodrigo, and I've got Luannah as every
Yay!
Wednesday. So, look, Luannah, I hate these kind of mornings because I have to be the bearer of bad news today. And I
Oh,
don't like doing that. Don't
okay.
like doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, Robert Redford died.
Oh, I saw that yesterday. Yeah, I saw
Like,
that.
that's
He's
a
iconic.
Hollywood icon right
Yeah,
there.
he's iconic. Yeah, completely. I can't think
And
of a movie he was in that I didn't like. Yeah, it was amazing.
yeah, I mean, I started I started looking at all those movies, and I'm like, oh my lord,
Yeah.
the things that he's done, right?
Mhm.
I mean, when you put the movies aside, he
Mhm.
was still a great actor in theater.
Mhm.
To go with that. That's how he got his real start. His first acting gig was Perry Mason on an episode of Perry Mason.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, cool. I
Yes.
like Perry Mason. That was a cool show.
So he got on that, and then he did a lot of Broadway stuff, including the one that got him noticed. I'm like trying to think of the name of it. Barefoot in the Park.
Yeah.
That's what got him started, and then they ended up making the movie, and
Wow.
he starred in that as well. I mean, it's like a no-brainer because he was doing the theater production for it. I mean, you might as well be in the movie too.
Yeah.
Um, and that really jump-started his career. So you
Wow.
talk about 1963 in the Broadway play, right? So, but I was reading about his life, and I'll tell you, like tragedy to intertwine with stardom was, I mean, it was this guy's life.
Wow.
I mean, it goes back when he got a scholarship for baseball, at University of Colorado.
Mhm.
And after that, after he got that, he went off to college. His mom died,
Okay. Wow.
and he started drinking, and he eventually got kicked out of the school. So he lost his scholarship.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is stuff that has
I didn't know
happened to
that.
him on a regularity. 1959 was when he first got into on Perry Mason, right? He had graduated, and his first job, Perry Mason. His first son died that same year.
Oh my gosh, so it's like each time when he started something new, somebody died.
Yes.
Wow.
So he's had setbacks. So his first son, Scott, died from sudden infant death syndrome
Whoa.
months after his birth. So, I mean, could you imagine? You get your first job, you think you're doing great, and then wham, you get another setback. And that's what it was, throughout his life. But he
Wow.
persevered, and he
Wow.
became a megastar and did a lot of things for the environment. He started Sundance, the Sundance
Yeah, he started
Institute.
Sundance. Yeah, the film. Yeah. Beautiful.
So that is massive
Yeah.
now.
Mhm.
So every year they have a festival for the Sundance Film Festival, right? And
Mhm.
it's for independent film and theater, not just the
Mhm.
films.
Mhm.
It's for
Mhm.
theater as
Independent.
well.
Wow.
And it's just amazing how tragic some of the moments are in his life when, he lost his only son after Scott, so he had two daughters and a son after that, and his son died at 58 from cancer.
Wow.
I'm trying to find out. Let me see if I can see when that was. I don't think I have. 2020.
Wow.
In 2020, he lost his 58-year-old son to cancer. like he's had it, you know. He's
Yeah.
gone through, the parents dying, at different times in his life.
Mhm.
A lot of tragedy there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Of course, you don't want your children to die before you,
No.
and that's tough. He's had two of them.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I know
Tragic.
for my father and my mother, when my sister died at 55, it's just like it just shuts a part of you down if you're not careful, right? And it really,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Danny is here. Good morning, Danny. He says hi to both of us.
Hi, Danny.
Also, Sharon is here,
Hey,
and
Sharon.
yes, Sharon. If you can you hashtag Robert Redford, because um, stupid me. I never changed the tags from yesterday's show, so I don't have any of the tags for today's information on the
Ah,
description. So I, I thought, oh, I'm way ahead of the game. Yeah, but I forgot everything.
I love it when that
you
happens.
know, so it tragic. I, I, I think he was just a magnificent actor.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, so many movies. I mean, so many. You know, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was
Classic.
like one of my favorites,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that's what got him started as a leading man.
Uh,
You think of all the movies. I mean, you're talking 60s to what, 2018, I think might
hmm.
have been his last movie.
Yeah, Horse Whisperer was one of my favorite ones.
Horse Whisperer, exactly. So,
Yeah,
there is so much he's done out of Africa.
out of Africa. Love
That's a
that one.
fantastic story.
Yes, it is.
And you think of all the things he's done. We mentioned this, well, not me per se, but they mentioned this yesterday, I believe, on the show. Pete's Dragon. He did the movie.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in that.
Wow,
So, but he was in 2016. They made the movie, and he was in Pete's Dragon. So,
cool.
there's all kinds of stuff. Yes, uh, it's
Well,
just
he's a,
amazing, amazing.
for me, knowing that I didn't know that about his past, but for
Yeah,
me, he's an example of what I understand is how we get through things through creation, through creativity. So
yeah,
he used his creativity to get through all of those hard
exactly.
times. He didn't stop creating, he didn't stop building. And that's the key. Because the moment we stop when we're in trauma or tragedy, that's
Yeah.
when everything just gathers and the quagmire builds. And,
He
he's a beautiful
certainly
example of that.
he
Wow.
certainly defines perseverance.
Totally.
Certainly does, because
Yes.
he could have packed it in, when his mom died, when he was in college for baseball and all of that, and he had a rough go of it. Obviously, he got to
Yeah.
drinking, and he probably did a lot of things that weren't good,
Yeah.
you
Most.
know. But he picked himself back up after a while,
Hmm.
and then he moved on, and he went on to have a good life.
Hmm.
I mean, there's still a lot of tragedy in there, and he just, you know, like I don't remember which one it was. It might have been Rocky 5, where he loses everything, and
Hmm.
he's like, it's not. It might be actually the Rocky Balboa movie. It's not how many times you can take the hit; it's how many times you can get up.
Yes, completely. That is really a secret to getting through things.
So,
Mm,
rest in peace.
I love that.
Hopefully, he has plenty of that, up there in the Hollywood in the sky.
Mm,
Hopefully, all the good ones that are up there.
yeah.
I don't look. We'll never know if any of these people did anything wrong, but when you see them on screen and in interviews,
Mhm.
you kind of like the guy.
Totally.
You kind of
Totally.
like the guy.
I agree.
I haven't heard any stories of nightmares about him, but if there are, they're going to start flooding out.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to say anything when they're still alive.
Right.
So, but hopefully it's all good stuff. I've been hearing a lot of people praising him, including some of the actors like Scarlett Johansson.
Hmm.
Came out
Yeah.
and said wonderful things about him. So,
Mm.
I tend to believe that.
Yeah, I
I tend to
believe that
believe
too.
that.
Yeah,
So rest in peace, Robert Redford. You will be missed.
very much. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Oscar winner. I mean, he won for Ordinary People as a director, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and A River Runs Through It.
Oh, I love that movie. That one was one of my. I forgot all about it till you mentioned it. Yeah, that
It's a
was a
great movie.
beautiful movie. I think I saw it like 3-4 times. I love it so much. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I will be talking more about him later
Okay. Awesome.
because cat out of the bag, he's my top 5 today.
Awesome.
So, you
He
got to
earned it.
stay for that.
Yeah.
Ron's top 5 Robert Redford movies. And there's a lot of them.
Wait, I can't wait
Let
to
me
see.
tell you,
That's
there's
a
a
lot
lot.
to choose from. Holy cow! I mean, how many movies did he do in total? That's like
I don't know the exact number, but on here I'm saying I probably have about 50 something of them written down.
and to choose 5 from 50. Holy cow!
Right.
That's
I mean, and this is what people don't understand. It's like when you compile this list of the top 5 of anything,
Mhm.
it's not so easy.
No, no, of course not. I can
Because
imagine.
you're going off of the emotion of that list, and then it's like you remember a movie and it's like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah,
love that movie, it's
yeah,
got to be in there. But then you go through that like 20 times.
yeah.
And then you can't make a decision, and then you put something in there that you're feeling it now, but tomorrow it could be something else.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know, but it's a big loss. This is going to be a tough year at the end of the year when I do my in memoriam.
Mm.
More? Whatever.
Memorial,
Yes, thank you.
memoriam.
Yeah, so I do that every year, and it kind of sucks. But when you start listening to that list, it's a mile long all the time. I
Wow.
think about all the people we lost this year. That's going to be tough. You know, half
Mm.
the time, I've been doing it now 5 years, and it's like you're in tears by the time you're done
Wow.
because I always save the toughest ones for last.
The
Those
deepest.
are really tough.
Yeah.
Memoriam, thank you.
Memoriam. Right, memoriam.
I couldn't think of the word. In
It's
memoriam.
too early. Another cup of coffee.
Yeah. Got the juice flowing, so
I
that's
don't have
that.
coffee yet. I have caffeinated tea today, but maybe I'll
Yeah,
have
I was gonna
coffee.
make tea, but I had made mashed potatoes and I forgot to clean out my little pan.
Uh,
So those mashed potatoes are now like paste. They're gonna be stuck to that thing.
make a patty and fry it in butter. That's pretty yummy.
No, yeah, but no, it's been sitting out.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I forgot about the stupid pan. Ah well, what are you
Happens.
gonna do?
Happens.
All right. So you are watching us live on Kick, YouTube, and Rumble. So you can join like Sharon is and Danny is right now watching us live on one of those. You can also watch us live on Twitch at RI_broadcasting. There you can donate bits to help support the show. So if you put in your four bits, which is only 4 cents, then that allows me and Luannah to each put in our 2 cents. Just saying. Everything is better with butter. That's not
Oh,
even easy to say.
I love that. I love
Better
butter.
with butter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Butter.
So, So hopefully Danny's still there. I know he's been sporadically listening and watching, the show, and I hope he's going to stick around. So, you also can listen to the show at Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio at RI Broadcasting. Red Circle, by the way, you can also donate on there. So if you want to put in 4 cents there, you can too.
Whenever you
Why
say
not do both?
radio,
Do
whenever
both.
you say, oh, sorry. Whenever you say iHeartRadio, I think of the movie I Heart Huckabees. Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah, I Heart Huckabees.
I love
Yeah,
that movie.
I remember that.
So clever, so well done.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
See, you know your movies. We're going to see how many you know of Robert Redford later.
Okay. All right.
You can also follow us on all our social media. There's so many, it makes your head spin. But U42, Odyssey, Parler, Space Hey, Gab, MeWe, TikTok, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and of course Patreon at RI Broadcasting. So make sure you get out there. Look. It's a nice mug. Eventually all you guys will get one.
Can't
Christmas
wait.
time.
I can't wait. Yeah,
Christmas
looking forward
time.
to.
But yeah, it's like we have there's so many things that you can follow us on. So whatever social media you're on, if we're not on it, send us a message and say, hey, get on it.
Yeah.
You can also follow us at Twitter/X with that wonderful branding that they do at Broadcasting RI. Who knows what it'll be? Eventually, it won't be Elon Musk, I'm guessing. And it'll probably go back to Twitter like it should be. X is stupid. But to each his own, right? That's what he wanted to name it. That's what he named it. X.
I had no idea. It's going to go back to Twitter. Is that really happening, or?
Well, apparently he wants to sell Twitter or X. Okay. So he doesn't want it anymore.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I don't think he knows what he wants.
Yeah.
Something tells me he's in a long-term midlife crisis right now.
Could be.
I think he's trying to do flying cars or something. I don't know.
All right. Speaking of flying cars, last night that I had 2 cars and they were both stolen. In my dream last night. I don't know what that means.
I had some crazy dreams too. Woof. Oh man. You want to talk about X's and dreams? This was frightening. Let me tell you, when they're all in the same dream, all of them, every X, they were all in there.
Like Ghosts of Girlfriends Past movie, right? Something.
Oh my God, it was frightening.
It's funny.
It wasn't a good one for it, but it was scary. A little scary. Makes you kind of look over your shoulder.
Good thing you're inside, not outside.
If a therapist got a hold of me, they could write books. And I mean books. Yeah, right. All right. You can also go to Facebook at Going On Daily Morning Show and follow us there. It is very important because we want to be able to go live on there, and we have to have a certain amount of followers in order to do this. So you need to go on there. You need to share it with your friends. It's so disheartening when they took, Rhode Island Broadcasting out from under us, and account integrity is what they say. Yeah, I'm like, it was my only account. So why don't you stop all those scammers that are on Facebook and just pelting us with every scam known to mankind? constantly. They don't stop those people though.
No.
They punish, Ron. Maybe he said something that Mark Zuckerberg didn't like,
Mm.
and he booted us. Gone.
That's
So
good time.
Zuckerberg
Yeah.
is not so nice. Not so nice.
Mm.
But you can make it all up for us, Mark Zuckerberg, by going to RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net. And there you can donate up to $10 million.
Oh.
So Zuckerberg could make it all up if he just went on and gave us $10 million. Then all is forgotten.
Yeah. That's funny.
I have no problem with that. You can also check out all the hosts, links to their shows and what they do. You can also go on there and vote. Ron is every therapist's dream. You're right. You're right, because they all want a piece of this. They all want to check out what's in here. What makes me tick? I don't know if they'd want that. If I channel myself and put myself into their heads, oh my God, they're in trouble. Trouble. I forgot what I was doing now. The Hall of Fame. Vote now for the Hall of Fame. Go to RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net. Vote on these movies, which will be the first movie to be inducted into the Going On Daily Hall of Fame. The Beatles are there waiting for somebody. They're waiting for their co-Hall of Fame as they got in. Now it's Grease, Jaws, Rocky, Saturday Night Fever, and The Godfather. And last I looked, it was Grease at 36.4%.
Wow.
Jaws at 27%. And then Rocky and Godfather at 18%.
Well, last week Godfather didn't even have one vote when I was on the show with
I know
you.
it's climbing. I think because Sharon pushed it so much yesterday.
Oh, really?
People are now saying, "Wait, we can't have this."
Oh,
so all those Godfather fans are crawling out from underneath their rock, and they're like, "Okay, we need to vote for this."
That's so funny.
Myself, I'm torn. Well, first of all, I like 4 of these movies. I'm not a big Saturday Night Fever fan.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of the disco stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love Grease because Olivia Newton-John is in there, and that was my cup of tea back then, right? But I'm a big fan of Rocky and Jaws. Saw both of them about 1 billion times. So that's if one of those 2 win, I'm happy.
Of those movies, I've seen Grease the most times. That was my favorite movie as a kid, and I've watched it many times just to have the memory. Movie. I like Rocky. My husband introduced me to Rocky. I used to be like, Rocky, and then he got me into the movie. Like, oh my God, it's an amazing movie. So I like it's really.
Look at Sharon like hashtagging The Godfather. The Godfather, hashtag Godfather fans. She's calling them all out.
All right.
All out.
Oh, that's so fun.
And I wouldn't be upset if The Godfather won because it's a great movie. I mean, these were rated the 5 best movies of the 70s. I'm not so sure that is true, but I do love 4 of them.
Yeah.
So, so they're in there, and go vote. Go vote. Go vote. So, all right. So let's get into our next thing. Oh, I didn't even say it is season 2, episode 187, The Natural. Obviously, Robert Redford, we've already discussed him once, and he'll be back again to share his movies. Not him himself. I will speak for him. So there is that. I don't even think I put up this graphic either. Look at this. I didn't even put up the graphics. I was so into Redford.
You're still on your mashed potatoes mind. You're thinking of your
Yeah,
mashed
yeah. My
potatoes.
mind is mashed potatoes. Let me tell you. But I'm gonna love this. This graphic is
Oh,
pretty.
nice
This is
picture.
pretty nice. This is a nice graphic.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about seasons and cycles of living. Look at this. These trees are beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
okay. Yeah.
Yes, beautiful.
Oh, they're very beautiful. Yeah, I actually had it the other way around, so I'm just going to move my notes. I was going to do the other one first. But
Oh, sorry about that.
that's
I just
okay.
figured I like the trees. I went with that first.
Yeah, beautiful. That's fine. So both of my topics today, I'm drawing from posts that I read in Facebook. And I'm just going to expand some thoughts and commentary on them.
Okay.
I found them, relevant for a lot of people right now too. So this one, somebody posted this, and so it goes like this. So I think I lost my spark, or going through some type of growth. I don't talk as much anymore. I keep to myself, and I've mastered the art of distance. It's not that I'm mad or bitter. I just don't have the energy to show up the way I used to. Somewhere along the way, I slipped into this I don't care phase. I ghosted people without meaning to and became uncomfortable in my own silence. Maybe it's healing, maybe it's just exhaustion. Either way, I'm learning that sometimes pulling away is a part of finding yourself again.
Now, Luannah,
Mm-hmm.
see, they lost their spark, but Captain Kirk lost his spark.
The spark, not the Spock, the spark.
Oh, spark! Oh, okay. Oh, see, I thought it was Spock, and I'm like, wow, that's
But it
amazing
could
that there's
be,
two people named Spock.
but it could fit too because Spock was the voice of reason, right?
It was.
So it could be I lost my Spock,
Yes,
my
that is
inner
true.
Spock.
That is pretty good.
That
See,
could be
my
true that way.
goofballness brought out an
Absolutely.
actual, good comparison.
Absolutely. And it fits. It actually works. Yeah. And so, I was reflecting on that, and a lot of people are feeling that kind of blahness, right?
Yeah.
And then it made me think of, well, we have seasons. And I actually commented on the person's post too, just giving some encouraging thoughts, and
Yeah.
that
I mean,
we all,
everybody gets that way, right? You
yeah,
feel just kind of,
yeah. And
it's
it's
like,
a natural cycle. We have our springs, we have our winters, we have our falls, we
yeah.
have our summer seasons. And I said to the person, even sometimes I've had all of them in one day, right? It can happen all in one day.
Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate in a lot of cases, right?
Right.
I, I,
And so,
that's how life is.
and the thing is like, I'm going to use like Robert Redford now as an example, right? God, he had so many winters and he weathered them, and the spring always comes, right?
Yeah.
And so when we have that knowing inside of the natural rhythms of life and the cycles,
Yeah.
then that can be like a compass so that we don't have to go so deep into the self-doubt and the self-questioning, which then drives us deeper, right? There are moments like the wintertime, the tree, all the energy draws from the trunk and it goes into the roots. It's a time of gathering, it's a time of building, it's a time of resting. And in our world, we're so busy, push, 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 hustle, 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 get it done,
Yeah.
that natural momentum feels unnatural.
Yeah.
And then we
Especially
don't.
here in the Northeast, Luann. Like it's a different way of life in the Northeast.
Hmm.
If you go to Florida, it's pretty laid back, and I mean, outside of Miami, everything is pretty laid back down south. Um, but in the Northeast, it's like everybody's uptight, go, 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 and everything is fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
And when somebody like moves from the south and they come up to the Northeast, it's like they can't keep up with the people. And there's the mind races, the heart races, the body races,
Yeah.
and it is definitely suspect to basically wearing down faster and
Mm-hmm.
just falling into deeper winter, you know?
Exactly, because then when we're always in that adrenaline rush, I don't know if I mentioned one of the shows. Yeah, my first show with Becky. When we have one shot of adrenaline through stress in the day, it takes the body 14 hours to process that one shot.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
have multiple stress moments in the day, and then you got that 14 plus 14 plus 14. So on the outside, it looks like we're being productive because we're living on adrenaline and cortisol.
Right.
But then there's going to come the crash, right? That's the adrenal burnout. And so I'm almost wanting to invite a new trend of pause, of rest, to get refamiliarized with rest rather than feeling guilty, sitting around for an afternoon. Oh my God, I should be doing something. No, you're allowed to just take a break. You're allowed to, you're allowed to binge on Netflix if you want, a day a month or something like that. If you're doing it every day, it's a different story. But, to have that comfort with, all right, it's all right to just pause, to be, to not do.
Yeah, it's like Europe has that kind of ability just to turn it off. When you talk about their life and they have like their weekend and it is their weekend. They don't work.
Yeah, it's
They
true.
don't they don't work.
I lived there for 10 and a half years. So they have a whole different way of being.
Yeah,
they do what they got to do, but they work hard, but they play hard and they rest hard. It's just like whatever they need. Yeah.
It's different, right? It's different
Right.
than what it's like here, and I don't understand really how the the societies in both areas are quite different,
Mm-hmm.
and it varies all over the world, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. There's something to be said about they're taking time off and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
this country. You can't turn it off.
no, in my first position, so I did a practicum in a hotel, a 5-star hotel in Germany. That's how I started when I was 19. It was a Kurort, like a healing place. And do you know the business owners give their staff 5 to 8 days, the high CEOs, free of charge. They pay everything to go to one of these spas, but it's really for healing with thermal baths and massage and everything. They actually they give that to their high employees that they know have excess of stress. And it's just like, it's a beautiful thing, right? They value care. I mean, even if you go into a pharmacy, at least I don't know now, when I lived there, this is already like 20 years ago, 24 years ago, but you would walk into a pharmacy, you wouldn't see any pharmaceutical products. You would just see natural products and herbs. The pharmaceuticals were in the back because they believe more in building the body rather than masking.
Right.
For production, right? So a lot of our medicines here, it's masking our symptoms so we can keep producing.
Yeah.
It's not really nourishing and rebuilding the body. So it's the complete reverse over there. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. And so they also
Sharon says, I notice when I visit my family in the country that the pace is a lot slower. It's a wonderful change. And it really is. It lets you pump those brakes a little and it's like, hey, slow down and enjoy it. And that's a lot of things that people, in especially city life, you don't get, at least in this country. Like it's always on the go. And, that brings out a lot of the side effects, whether it's obesity or mental health,
autoimmune
a
disorders.
lot of these things
Yeah.
are affected when you're on that treadmill of life in the city. So there's a lot of negatives to that kind of a pace. But if you know how to shut it down, more power to you. Um, let others in on that secret. That's all I can tell you. Share that with your friends so that way, they don't, burst into flames from the pace that they're on, right?
Yeah, a big key to help that is the breath, because we stop breathing, right? When we're stressed, everything contracts and we hold our breath. And what happens when we hold our breath, though, biologically, that our vital organs, our digestion organs, our liver, our spleen, our pancreas, all that, they don't get the massage that they're designed to get through our breath, because the diaphragm doesn't move. And that's why we get so much gunk caught, metabolic waste, debris, and just the intestines are not working properly, because they're not getting, their body's designed for the diaphragm to massage these organs.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a big part. Digestive issues are huge in North America in particular. Right. And that's a big part of it. So when we do the breath, like I'm trained in the heart math method. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Have you heard of the heart math method? No. So it's a method of breath work that helps to recalibrate your nervous system. And say if your buffer zone, and a healthy buffer zone, let's say, is like this. So then hyperarousal, hypoarousal, right? So we have a little bit of time of stress, a little bit of time of exhaustion, depression, whatever, right? Those are normal little spikes. But when we've had too much stress or we're in too much hustle, that buffer zone goes down and we're really spiking into hyperarousal or hypoarousal. So the heart math helps to expand that and restore a natural buoyancy in our nervous system so that we can navigate stress better. And even if we have to be on the go, at least we're breathing. And we're breathing, and when we breathe, we integrate more. So the breath is the key. It's a 24/7 healer, and we have it with us, and we don't have to pay. It's just a matter of learning how to do that breath work, and coming into the moment, because otherwise we're just swung through our seasons, right? But we're not really paying attention to the natural moment when the season switches. So like, say we were just in the spring and summer and harvest, and then all of a sudden we're in the fall and winter, but we didn't catch that shift because we're just in the go. And then that's when we get like, well, what happened? Everything was good a week ago, a month ago. I don't know. Why don't I feel the same anymore? Right? And so it's just like seasons.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. It's just like understanding that we are creatures of movement. We are designed to move. We're not designed to say, this is me and that's it. Or this is the state. I'm always in summer, or I'm always in spring, or always, or always.
But see, this is the problem, though, with all of this. Like, this is really what separates men and women, because women could be told all this information, and they just process everything differently.
True.
So then they can say, all right, I'm going to start doing this, and that way I can, ease my mind a bit and all the stress and all that. Men are wired completely different. And it's like, it's because they think, all right, it's not acceptable for a man to do this. It's not, and this is what a man should be. I got to work. And they have that tunnel vision thinking.
Yeah. And I'd like to point out, it's not, I mean, we are wired differently from in utero. The part of the man's brain that develops first is survival and the animalistic warrior brain. And the woman, it's communication. But it's the belief systems that keep us stuck. It's the stories that keep us stuck, not so much the wiring, because we're designed to rewire ourselves. Our brain, you can develop that feminine brain, that feminine side, as well as we can develop that masculine side. We need both to survive, really. And that's what we're here to mirror that back to each other. But it's the stories that men have grown up with. I know my husband has gone through that too. When he has a time of resting, he's like, I feel guilty. I should be doing something. It's like, no, you don't. You can just be.
And that's the thing. It is, I don't want to really say this, but this is why women are smarter. Because the women recognize these problems, and then they can do something about it. Men, they kind of ignore those signs. Like, in order to get to a man in general, I'm not saying all men, in general, in order to get through to a guy, they have to have something happen in order for them to make the change. It's just like trying to become healthier living with diet. right? They're not going to change their diet until, they
Emergency
have to.
hits. Yeah, till the emergency hits. Yeah.
So, and that's the problem with everything, right? Because you're programmed at an early age, and I'll tell you, knowing what I know now, if I had a child today, like, you gotta give them the healthy stuff, right? You
Mm-hmm.
gotta have all healthy things.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, once you're programmed, it's almost,
It's
you
hard to
know
deprogram, but we can deprogram, and that's
right.
the important point. We can when we have the knowledge, and that's why it's important to understand seasons and cycles. Or like even
Yeah,
the cycles of humanity. Hard times create strong people.
yeah.
Strong people create easy times. Easy times creates weak people, and
Yep.
then weak people create hard times, and it's a cycle. If you go through history, you can see that again and again. Now, if we know that, then we can navigate it.
Great
But
comment.
if we don't know it, right? Yeah, good comment. If we don't know it, that's when we get lost. So that's why knowledge and information and reaching out to understand things is important, because then we can create a map to navigate these different cycles and seasons that we all enter into daily, or in the larger cycles of life. And then we can find a way to navigate through that, and then that helps to regulate our nervous system rather than keeping activating it with self-doubt.
Yeah,
Right? That's the big one,
absolutely.
self-doubt. Like, what's wrong with me? We say that's I used to say that to myself all the time. And then I went, no, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just my body is communicating something isn't working, or life is giving me a hint. And then I'm just saying that's not okay anymore. You got to do something else, or this is new. And so we learn to listen to the nuances of our inner experience and the world around us more. And then we have a capacity to actually direct our life more. And then we have the capacity to start rewiring, because our brain, Ron, is open a third of a second of every second for a new command, biologically.
Yeah,
Right?
it's certainly, look, there's just so much that we don't even know.
Yeah.
Like, as human race, we know very little about anything, and ourselves included.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always discoveries, and there's always, new things on the horizon,
Mm-hmm.
and generally humans are kind of egotistical, because we think we know everything there is to know about ourselves, and we
We
know
don't.
nothing.
Well, we know a little bit. The cycles, the
This
laws of nature, the
tiny
cycles.
a fraction.
But the thing is I don't. For me, years ago, I just thought I don't need to understand everything, but if I understand the basic mechanics of thought, the basic mechanics of the laws of cycles and seasons, the basic mechanics, that already gives me an upper hand to be able to navigate better, even though I don't know everything, even though I'll never know everything. But it at least gives me like those bonus berries in Pac-Man, that I can start moving through, and I can, eat the ghosts that want to get me, right? So, and
Yeah,
it's just that it's not about knowing everything. We never will. I mean, that's a part of the mystery of life. But
yeah,
when I learn to leverage just the micro bit of knowledge that I have in my life, I've witnessed that it works. And look at Robert Redford. That's what he will have had done. He
yeah,
will have had his hard seasons, and he will have had some kind of inner organization or understanding of the basic principles of life to be able to keep going forward as he did, and to keep putting his whole self into what he did, because he didn't just keep acting and he was a half-ass actor. He acted with
absolutely.
gusto. He acted with his whole being. So he had to have known some of these principles and just use those little micro bits of knowledge to recreate and redirect and just keep creating and keep moving forward.
Absolutely. So, Becky, welcome. I'm going to rewatch this when I'm able to focus. It sounds like good info, very good info. But, Becky, you don't want to miss this next section. This next segment is going to be fabulous. And I don't know if you're going to agree with it, Becky. You might not even have seen any of these movies, for all I know.
Yeah, Sharon, that's true.
Doggy!
That's true, Sharon. Yeah.
Look, it is.
Oh,
I mean, we just Wow, that was a good segment, and it took
Awesome.
up a big chunk of time. So we're gonna try to get through these next two segments in the next 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
So let's do Ron's top five Robert Redford movies.
Awesome.
Again, if you missed the beginning of the show, Robert Redford passed away yesterday at the age of 89. The family did not release the cause. They asked, of course, for their privacy, as they mourn the loss. But with that being said, I figured there's no way I can not do a top five Robert Redford
Absolutely.
movie.
Absolutely.
It's just I can't not do it. So
No.
this was a must. This took the place of my other top five that I had ready to go, but this one was more important at the time. So look, Robert Redford has made some great movies, and I I I don't know if this is even going to be right, but it's how I feel today. And we had gone over some of those movies, like The Horse Whisperer.
Mm.
A river runs through it, barefoot in the park. He had 3 days of the Condor, up close and personal, A Walk in the Woods, The Old Man and the Gun, which was in 2018, still doing it then. Of course, he was in the Avengers Endgame, Captain America, The Winter Soldier.
Oh,
So he
right. I
made
forgot he was in there.
so
Right.
much, and of course, like I said, Pete's Dragon that we had talked about, Ordinary People. Like, there's so many, but none of those are on the list, by the way.
No.
None of
None.
them. None of
No.
them. And it still goes on. Remember
Oh, I
Sneakers,
can't imagine.
The Great Gatsby, The Candidate, A Bridge Too Far, Legal Eagles, Quiz Show, Lions for Lambs, all not on my list.
You know what? I didn't know those ones, so I'm not surprised. But those other ones surprised me that they're not on there. Oh my gosh.
Not on the list.
Okay.
All right, so what is on the list?
Yes, do tell, Ron. What is on the list?
Honorable mentions. Brubaker, that's the one. That is the second best prison movie
That was a good.
after Shawshank.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean.
So he played the warden Harry Brubaker. So that was a fantastic movie. And I'm not sure if this next one I got wrong. It might possibly belong in the top five, but today The Castle is an honorable mention, and that's the one with James Gandolfini from Sopranos. He was in that with him.
I didn't see.
He was I believe he was the it was another prison movie, matter of fact. He was the warden, and Robert Redford played Lieutenant General that was, court-martialed and sentenced to this prison, and he wanted to change things in the prison, and so it was a fantastic movie. Loved it. Also, honorable mention, Out of Africa.
I love that one.
Such a
Didn't make
great, great movie.
Didn't make it
Such
in the top five?
Didn't
Only
make
on-
my top five. No.
No way. Wow. Oh
Nope.
my gosh. I can't wait.
Spy Game, of course. I love Spy Game. That was a great movie.
Yeah, that was a good
And my bubble movie, which was number 6, Indecent Proposal.
I knew
Remember
I
that
knew
one?
it was gonna be that one. I remember that one. Yeah, Indecent Proposal.
Indecent Proposal. And yes, that did not make the top 5.
Wow. Surprising.
Number 5, however, Jeremiah Johnson, a Western. I love Westerns, and that was a great one by Robert Redford. Didn't do so well in the theaters. It only made 27 million, but it cost them 74. That didn't work out so well. Number 4, Paul Newman is co-star The Sting.
Oh, that was a good movie. I forgot
That was a
about
great
that
movie.
one. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
great together.
Yep,
Wow.
that's him in The Sting, way down underneath you, bottom left
Right.
corner, or bottom right corner, I guess, for folks at home. So yeah, The Sting, love that movie.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was
There he is.
fantastic. Now, it's a great movie. But the next three, for me, were way beyond those.
Hmm.
Way beyond. Number three, oh wait, Mr. Gandolfini had a cottage 3 hours north from me, and the community loved him. He was very friendly, but the community gave him space to enjoy his time there. That's fantastic, Sharon. That would be awesome living next to him. Be awesome.
I agree.
So number three is him as Roy Hobbs in The Natural. You know, he loved baseball, and he did one of the best baseball movies ever made. And you know, I mean, I like this one more than Field of Dreams.
Oh, Field of Dreams was good. I remember that.
Right, but I like this. I liked The Natural better.
Hmm.
So that was number three. Number two was with Dustin Hoffman, All the President's Men. You know, the
That was a
one
good,
about Watergate.
that was a good one.
That was such
Right.
a great movie.
That was riveting. That was just like you were in it the whole
It
time.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fantastic movie. Love that one. But they all pale in comparison to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, that had to be in the number
Like,
top five. That
that
had to be there,
is
for sure.
that's just a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic. And I love them. Like, these movies are so good. There's so many great movies that he's done. Like, you know, when I have to leave out The Horse Whisperer. Leave it off the
I'm
list.
happy with you for that one. That's like one of my all-time favorites. I watched that movie like a dozen times. Yeah, that's like
You
one of
know,
my.
but yeah, I don't even think I mentioned The Way We Were either.
Oh my God, that was a good movie too. That was fabulous with Barbara
He was in
Streisand,
Havana,
right?
The
Right.
Chase. There was. You can't go wrong with whatever your five are.
Yeah, it's true.
You can't go wrong.
It's
Like,
great. Well,
you're gonna have a good movie in there. you know, you
agree.
pick five, you just throw them all up in the air, and whatever lands at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's a good choice.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I mean, it's just some of those actors just have that. It's like like Denzel, right?
Yeah, they have
That's
that
great movies.
that quality, that star feature, right? There's a frequency to who they are and how they bring forward what they do, and yeah, they're beyond others. Yeah, yeah.
So that is the list. I tried to get through it as fast as that's probably the fastest I've ever done a top 5 list. By the way, 9 minutes.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah, usually it goes a bit longer. Yeah, that's true. Wow.
9 minutes. How about
job.
that? Because I wanted to at least talk a little while about your last subject, and that is emotional intelligence equals emotional avoidance.
Yeah.
Is that even possible?
It looks like it is, actually. And again, this was inspired because I've had that observation before too. And somebody wrote this quote, and I'm going to read on Facebook, and this is where I drew this topic because, again, I feel it's really relevant because we're getting some confusion in the emotional intelligence realm. So everyone is so emotionally intelligent nowadays, they completely miss the part where love sometimes means being patient with someone who's still figuring things out. We've learned the language of boundaries and red flags so well that we forget that healing doesn't always look pretty or perform well. We live in a time where one wrong text can end a connection, and one imperfect moment can brand someone as toxic or unsafe. Where protecting your peace is sometimes really, it's just avoiding intimacy. in the idea of emotional. People say like, I'm just protecting myself, but there's actually avoidance in that. There's not meeting the moments of the real emotions. We confuse regulation with disconnection, clarity with control, detachment with wisdom. And in so doing, we build curated lives filled with people who never challenge our edges and only mirror them. We mistake emotional intelligence for emotional convenience. And then we wonder why everything feels so distant, even when we're doing everything right. It is so. Can you see where I'm going with that? So
Yeah.
What I've witnessed is that, like, especially the term narcissism as well, that's just like a pop phrase now. Everybody, as soon as you have a moment, you're a narcissist, right? So there's emotional intelligence that we have knowledge of nowadays that, say, my parents didn't have, right? They could have red flags, but they didn't have the knowledge to understand what the red flag is. Or even in my 20s, I was in a narcissistic abusive relationship, but I didn't have the term then. I didn't know what it was. I made my way out of it. And later in my 30s, that term came my way. I'm like, oh, that's what that was, right? So these terms, they're useful as a way to help us, again, navigate, but they can also become destructive when they become weapons of judgment. Right.
Yeah.
And so, and the thing is we have centuries of humanity being lost without emotional intelligence and without that spiritual connection that helps us build that emotional intelligence. So we got to know that it's going to be messy. We got to know that none of us is going to be perfect. We got to know when we get into a relationship, one conflict does not mean that both are narcissists or that you're toxic. What people call toxic is usually trauma. It's usually trauma coping mechanisms that developed as self-preservation. And then when we get into an intimate relationship of love, well, love is going to unearth everything that's not of love in us through triggers so that we can get to know ourselves. So relationship is really about cultivating emotional intelligence and depth. If I'm only using my emotional intelligence without cultivating depth, what good is it? Then it's just another label. It's just another meme. It's just another title.
Isn't it just when you're in a relationship, isn't it just the person just has to know? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just do things, and you do things by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And that means what I'm trying to say is, like, it just comes naturally to you. So when a relationship doesn't work or breaks down for whatever reason, whether the person's a narcissist doesn't mean anything at this point. When it breaks down, isn't that just because you're just not good together?
Yes, sometimes it is. But then sometimes relationships do end that don't really need to, where people have hit a juncture of, like, I call it a ping pong trigger, where the one person's trigger then triggers the other person's trigger, and that trigger triggers that trigger, and that trigger triggers that trigger. And then but underneath that, there's an emotional pain. There's something there to be excavated. But if we're only focusing on the ping pongs going back and forth like that, nobody gets to do that. And if we can, even if we're not meant to be together, right? That observation of looking in and what is this underlying this trigger still sets us free to set each other free without hatred, without resentment, without anger, but to say, okay, we brought this up in each other, and we brought it up for a purpose of recognition, healing, witnessing, and learning. And then when I can do that, then I can leave my relationships, if I have to leave a relationship, in good energy of understanding, okay, they're not a villain, I'm not a villain. There's a dynamic that arose between us, and either A, we weren't able to get through it, and okay, bless it, or we got through it and we came to see, oh, this doesn't work, and maybe we're not together anymore, or oh, great, we are working together, right? So, but it needs emotional, we need to be able to lean into the emotions that arise in the triggers in order to actually see what's really going on, because otherwise we're just reacting to the surface reactions of our triggers and
Yeah,
trauma.
but that's the growth in a person. So I think that at that time, if you're having difficulties with that as a couple, then no, you don't belong together. So if you break up, and then you don't belong together
Well, I could see,
because maybe one person has grown, you
okay,
know,
that could happen.
through emotionally and all of that, and the other person still has not.
Yeah,
That
for
means they're
sure.
not really ready for you.
Well, that is true too. But first, there needs to be some investigation. Like, I can use my husband and I as an example. We've had many situations both ways where we could have just like dissolved our relationship because of unresolved triggers in each of us from old wounds. But because we both recognize that the trigger was already in me before he entered my life, and his trigger was already in him before I entered his life. And
Right.
then when we take the time to go into the emotional depth of that experience, then we
Yeah,
can
but that
uncover what's
means
really there.
you work things out, and
Exactly.
that's what I mean. So at that moment,
Hmm.
if you work things out, then it's supposed to be.
Yeah, then you grow and you evolve. But
Right.
if we don't embrace the messiness and go through the messiness first, then oftentimes what I've witnessed, and I work with couples too, they're ready to cut it off before that investigation was done,
Yeah,
before
but
that
if they
exploration was
do,
done.
see, I tend to think that one person or the other, if it doesn't work out, I don't think there really needs to be the investigation.
Okay.
Because if it doesn't work for someone,
Mm.
that means it's not going to work as a couple, because
Well,
you're not going to be in the same place, mentally or emotionally. And
yeah.
I don't think one of those people that are having the tough time with it is going to need to do some growing before that would work. And at that moment in time when you're arguing or whatever you're doing because of something stupid,
Mm.
right? If you can't work it out, it ends. If you do work it out, then you have that effect where, okay, it works out, you learn from it.
For
And
sure.
that's the thing. I think it's just being in a different place emotionally is somebody's not ready. When
But
a
the thing,
relationship doesn't work, there's always a reason.
but there's still, before that is decided, there needs to be that willingness. I've worked with couples that were they were ready to leave, they're ready to part, and I was
Yeah.
able to help them to uncover where the lost in translations were happening, and then they
Yeah,
ended up
and I get that. I
right. So
get that.
that's the thing. But they were willing to look at it. But if we're not willing to look at that, investigate, where are we triggering each other,
Yeah,
where
and that's
is
the
the
thing.
lost in
That's
translation, then if we cut it off too soon, we could be cutting off something that's really got a potential, because when we meet each other, we're in the honeymoon and we're in the best self of each other, and so that shows there's potential there, and then
right.
stuff gets in the
Right.
way, right? And so to do that inner work and to not just go in with the labels, oh, you're toxic because you have a reaction. That's what I'm talking about. The
Yeah,
simplification,
and I get that.
that
And if
that doesn't
somebody
help.
is if somebody is willing to work on something, then there's something there, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
and that's the thing. That is growth, and I get that part of it.
Yes.
But somebody who just thinks they're right, or thinks the other person's wrong or whatever it may
No, that
be,
doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah.
if they're not willing to do that,
Oh, for
then
sure.
then it ends
For
because
sure.
it ends. So if a relationship ends, there's a reason for it to end, is what
For
I'm
sure.
saying, you
Yes,
know,
for sure.
because one person probably is not willing to look at themselves.
Oh, exactly. But that's a step after what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this quick disposal of people, this quick disposal of friends and family members or whatever, because of this emotional intelligence we have
Yeah.
that
Oh, I
says,
know.
"Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I get
next."
that.
But
I get that.
that's what I'm addressing here,
But they're
right?
not grown. They haven't grown yet. They haven't figured it out.
Exactly. But
So
what this quote was bringing up is there's an emptiness in people because so many people are just so triggered with everything now. If you don't do it this way, I need my space. If you don't do it this way, if you don't do it this way, this means you're this. And that just
yeah,
doesn't work. That's not emotional
right.
intelligence. That's just knowledge of emotional intelligence. But emotional intelligence is getting in there and feeling it and then
Yeah,
finding that answer. Do we work together? Can we grow
yeah. And
together
somebody that's
or
not
not?
willing to, the relationship is doomed.
Oh, absolutely. But
So
this is the pre-point before that, right? Where
right. All
people
right.
often don't even investigate it.
So
Yeah.
Sharon says some relationships bring out your shadow and you trigger theirs. Most
Yeah.
people don't know this can be cathartic.
Yes.
Becky says, I will say, my husband should have ended it with me when we were dating. I had a lot of unresolved stuff from my first marriage. I wasn't ready for the seriousness of what we had, but he was
Mm-hmm.
patient and forgiving, and now we're both at the same place and content. And
Beautiful.
that's very important because
Yes.
he didn't just judge
Exactly. He didn't use the
and bolt.
emotionally intelligent memes to
Yeah,
reduce her. And that's what I'm addressing here. Be willing to be in the
right.
mess. Be willing to get
Right.
to know the
So
other person's mess and our own mess with
he was
kindness and
willing to
compassion.
go the extra mile,
Yes.
and it paid off in the long run.
Mhm.
And, he wasn't so quick to judge. There was something that he liked about her,
Yes.
and he saw it through, and it works out. And that's fabulous. So kudos to a guy that can do this, by the way,
Yeah.
because most guys probably run
Hmm.
because they don't want to put the work in. Well, I shouldn't say most guys. I'll say some
Some
guys.
guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Some guys. I
Yeah.
think most guys probably do put the work in.
And
Most.
then, so basically it's just the invitation to say, okay, if there's a mess showing itself, instead of labeling it and cutting each other off with these labels that are formed
Yeah.
through emotional intelligence,
Yep.
let's look into it. Let's lean into the emotions. Let's lean into what's going on so we can uncover. So then either way, if it works or doesn't work, we leave the relationship more aware, because otherwise, whatever, the way we end one relationship, we bring that into the next one. So
Yeah.
self-awareness is the way, and emotional intelligence is the ability to navigate those moments, the quagmire, the
You
mess.
always have that moment. I won't do that again.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just goes to show that if you can stop and think about the whole picture, it is really better for you in the long run, to go through relationships and actually try to work out a problem. It's like, oh nope, never mind.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
look, I mean, yeah, I get that there's probably a lot of relationships that probably did end too soon because somebody didn't want to do the work.
Exactly. Yeah. Or just not even willing to see this is trauma, not toxic. Like this is, and of course, trauma. The foundation of all narcissism is trauma, and we all have narcissistic moments when we're triggered. Every one of us, because that's
Yeah,
our self-preservation. So at least we got to acknowledge that we all got our
yeah.
narcissistic moments when we're triggered, and if we can acknowledge that, then we can go to the next step and say, okay, so what is this trigger? What's behind it? And then we
Oh,
call, and then we use the emotional intelligence to get behind it with love, with kindness, with compassion, and a willingness to learn, and a willingness to see our own misguided stories and thoughts as well,
oh
and
yeah.
the others. And when we can at least be in agreement to do that, well, for me, that is what emotional intelligence is. Being able to
See, there you
navigate
go.
those moments, right?
Yeah,
Being able to navigate those moments to come to a clarity, which ultimately frees both people. Whereas
yeah.
when we just cut it off because, oh, that feels uncomfortable. Okay, I get it. I mean, and if there's abuse, of course, but oftentimes that uncomfortable is just something that's looking to be seen and revealed and healed. And if
Yeah.
we don't understand that, if we don't have that
Woo,
as a possibility, then
woo.
we go partner to partner to partner, and we keep reenacting the exact same dynamics with everybody, and that's what I'm addressing, right? So we want to learn through each connection, whatever is there, and that's the emotional intelligence that gives us good
Sharon.
strength.
Sharon says we develop ideas about each other and resent each other for our narrow-mindedness.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've had couples that come to me with that situation. They both hold each other in deep contempt for different things, right? But then when we unpack it and we get back to what connects them, and then we uncover what are the actual motives behind, or unconscious motives behind each of them, that each of them is resenting, then suddenly it's like the air clears, and then finally they're connected again, right? And there's some people that won't happen, but a lot of people, I've witnessed the couples that have come to me, I've been able to help them find their way back to each other.
Absolutely. And Christy says, I think there are ego moments, narcissistic moments are much different. Look,
Ego is narcissistic.
Look, it's no surprise to me that I'm still single, at my age. Even though when I remember high school, I was like, okay, by 25, I'll be married, I'll have this career, whatever, and the whole blah, 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 the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. And it just never has worked out. Now, there is one that I think could have been salvaged way back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. That is the one that I think that it probably shouldn't have come to how it ended, and I'll make it quick, but I remember, we lived together and we went to go see my mom on a Sunday. And of course, this probably wasn't the best move my mom made, but she had said, oh, Michelle called here for you. It was an old girlfriend that went into the Air Force and got married and everything. And I have no idea, right? It's like, okay. But she said it in front of my current girlfriend that I had. And that's not going to sit well. Mm-hmm. So the mind plays tricks. Mm-hmm. And then for the next week, I just heard that I'm cheating on her, and now it's with everybody. And I'm like, she's in California, and I didn't take the phone call. Mm-hmm. She didn't call me; she called my mom. Yeah, so and it's like it couldn't work out. Yeah. And she just kept driving it in. I'm like, what? Am I going to take a private jet out to California to see her? Mm-hmm. Her husband's not going to like that. Mm-hmm. And then it ballooned into something else. And now it was everybody. Mm-hmm. So now, and it's like, and to this day, I'm 59. And I have never cheated on anyone. Mm-hmm. Never. Not once. Not even a thought. Never, never, never. Mm-hmm. And that is the one relationship that I say, with a little help, it could have worked out. Because I wanted to marry her. Mm-hmm. And it was like, it came out of left field. I'm like, why is this happening now? Mm-hmm. And it was a very messy breakup because she had a daughter, and it was rough. So, sorry, so that would be the one where the help would have worked. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For one of my relationships. The rest of them, not going to happen.
Yeah, gotcha.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. I'd love to address a comment that came up. It said that there's a difference between ego and narcissism. And I'd like to just break down what ego is. Ego is our self-preserver, right? A healthy ego is the part of us that brings us into the world with confidence. That's a healthy ego. The unhealthy ego gets formed through trauma, and it's the unhealthy ego that is the narcissist. So it is both. It is one and the same in those moments. It's exactly the same thing. There's no difference. A healthy ego, though, has a different clarity, has a different purpose, has a different strength of force to help us get forward. If I didn't have an ego, I wouldn't be here on the show. I've got enough of a healthy ego that I feel confident to be here and to share the things that life has shown me. If I didn't have an ego, I wouldn't be here, right? So we need that healthy ego to bring us into the world, to rise into what we want to do or what we're called to do, to show up, to perform, to do our art or whatever. So that's a healthy ego. An unhealthy ego is when we use things negatively, when we try to dominate, when we try to have power, when we resist movement, when we resist change. And we do that because there's trauma and we don't feel safe. So a healthy ego feels safe, an unhealthy ego feels not safe. And it's from that unhealthy ego that doesn't feel safe. That's where, if we don't grow beyond our natural narcissistic experience in our teens, because we're all narcissists when we're teens, and this is where we start to learn developmentally, right?
Absolutely.
Where we start to learn how to have empathy and come out of that. A lot of us are still stuck in our teen narcissism. It's an unhealthy ego.
Yeah.
And so
unfortunately.
And it's what it is, without making it right, wrong, good or bad. It's just understanding, how we evolve, how we grow, how we develop. And most often, for me too, for a long time, I had an unhealthy teenage narcissist in me, where it was just me, and, and what I knew was right and the things that you're saying. But that was all self-deflection and protection. It wasn't an intentional control. Malevolent narcissism is different. That's when somebody's really calculating and really wanting to use you, to control you, to belittle you. That is a completely different story.
I know some malevolent narcissists.
Yeah, I've known a few too. Yeah. And it's different. So that the trait of narcissism, which is in all of us, because it is a part of our inner makeup, it's a part of our self-preservation mechanism, it's a part of our ego. But at least if I know that I have that tendency that I could go into narcissistic responses, then I have that in front of me, then it no longer can hijack me from behind unconsciously.
There you go.
Right? And so that was how I would like to clarify ego and narcissism, because it's the same.
All right. Oh, woo.
Woo,
I'm exhausted from this one. Exhausted. Look, tomorrow is Becky and JJ. So join Thursday morning, 10 a.m., 8 a.m. Mountain Time. So if you're in Edmonton or San Antonio, join us at 8 a.m. You out there on the Pacific, 7 a.m. So wake up bright and early to join Becky and JJ tomorrow. We got to get out of here. We ran really late today. Ron's exhausted from all of this emotional bursts, and I gotta have some recovery time now. I gotta go chill and watch some TV just so I can relax and get back into it. I got 2 more shows to do later on today, so I want to thank Becky, Sharon, Christy, Danny. I think I got everybody that was commenting today. Thank you so much for being here and making the show great. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Have a good day.
Guys.